Have you ever wondered what happens the moment your soul leaves your body? What comes next? Is there a tunnel of light? Is there judgment? Do you simply stop existing? For thousands of years, Hindu scriptures have given detailed answers to these questions, and the most vivid, most specific account comes from one of the most fascinating texts ever written, the Garud Purana. The Garud Purana is a conversation between Lord Vishnu and his divine eagle mount, Garuda. Garuda asks Vishnu the very question that every human has asked at some point: what happens after we die? And Vishnu's answer is detailed, specific, and at times deeply unsettling. But it is also filled with hope and guidance for living a good life. Let us walk through this journey step by step. The moment of death. According to the Garud Purana, when a person is about to die, they experience the accumulated weight of their entire life's karma. Their body becomes heavy. Their senses begin to fail. Sight dims, hearing fades, and the ability to speak weakens. The soul, the Atma, begins to separate from the physical body. At this critical moment, what the dying person thinks about matters enormously. The Bhagavad Gita also confirms this. Whatever you think about in your final moments determines where your soul goes next. If you think of God, you go toward God. If you think of worldly attachments, you remain bound to the cycle of birth and death. As the soul leaves the body, it takes on what the Garud Purana calls the Yatana Sharira, a suffering body. This is a subtle body, roughly the size of a thumb, that can feel pain and pleasure but has no physical substance. It is in this form that the soul begins its journey to Yamaloka, the realm of Yama, the god of death. Now, who comes to get you? That depends on how you lived. If you were a righteous person who followed Dharma, performed good deeds, and lived with kindness and compassion, then the messengers of Vishnu, the Vishnudutas, come for you. They are described as beautiful, radiant beings dressed in yellow, carrying divine signs. They take your soul gently and guide it on a pleasant path. But if you were a sinful person who lived with cruelty, dishonesty, greed, and disregard for others, then the Yamadoots come. The Yamadoots are the messengers of Yama, and their description in the Garud Purana is terrifying. They have fearsome faces, red eyes, twisted bodies, and they carry ropes and weapons. They drag the sinful soul roughly from the body, causing immense pain. The journey to Yamaloka is described as a path that covers 86,000 yojanas, an enormous distance. The righteous soul is carried on a divine path with shade, food, and water along the way. But the sinful soul is forced to walk this entire distance on a road made of burning sand, thorns, and sharp stones. There is no water, no shade, no rest. The Yamadoots push and pull the soul along, not allowing it to stop. Along this path, the soul passes through 16 cities. Each city represents a different kind of suffering or purification. The names of these cities are given in the text: Sauripura, Nagapura, Gandharvanagara, and others. In each city, the soul encounters specific challenges based on its karma. It is a progressive journey of accountability. After this long and painful journey, the soul finally arrives at Yamaloka. There, it is brought before Yama himself. Now, Yama is not simply a judge. He is Dharmaraja, the king of Dharma, the lord of justice. He does not make arbitrary decisions. Every single action of the soul's life has been recorded by his assistant, Chitragupta. Chitragupta maintains the complete record of every being's karma. Every kind word, every cruel act, every charitable deed, every lie, every moment of compassion, every moment of selfishness, it is all written down. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is forgotten. Yama reviews this record and passes judgment. And this is where the Garud Purana gets very specific about punishments for different sins. The text describes 28 different types of punishment in Naraka, what we might call hell, though it is not permanent like the Christian concept of hell. These punishments are temporary. They are meant to cleanse the soul of its negative karma so it can be reborn. For example, those who stole from others are sent to a place called Raurava, where they are tormented by snake-like creatures. Those who committed violence against innocent beings are sent to Kumbhipaka, where they are cooked in boiling oil. Those who were cruel to animals face punishment in a realm where they are hunted by fierce beasts. Those who hoarded wealth and never gave to charity are sent to Sukaramukha, where they experience extreme thirst and hunger while surrounded by food and water they cannot touch. Those who bore false witness or lied to harm others face punishment in Avichimat, where they are thrown from great heights onto sharp rocks repeatedly. Now, before this sounds too grim, there is an important point. These punishments are not eternal. They have a fixed duration based on the severity of the sin, and their purpose is not revenge, it is purification. The soul must be cleansed of its negative karma before it can move forward in its spiritual journey. On the other side, the Garud Purana also describes the rewards for good karma. Those who lived righteous lives, who performed charity, who took care of their parents, who treated all beings with compassion, they are taken to Svarga, the heavenly realms. There, they enjoy divine pleasures, beautiful gardens, celestial music, and the company of the gods. But even this is temporary. Once their good karma is exhausted, they return to earth for another birth. The only permanent destination is moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Moksha is achieved not through good or bad karma, but through spiritual knowledge and devotion. When a soul realizes its true nature, that it is not the body, not the mind, but eternal, unchanging consciousness, identical with Brahman, the supreme reality, it breaks free from the cycle forever. The Garud Purana also places enormous importance on the rituals performed after death, the Shraddh ceremonies. These are the funeral rites and offerings made by the family of the deceased. The text says that these rituals directly help the departed soul on its journey. The offering of pined rice balls at specific intervals after death is described as essential. The pine offered on the first day forms the soul's new head. The offerings on subsequent days form the neck, shoulders, chest, and so on, gradually giving the soul a complete subtle body. Without these offerings, the soul remains as a disembodied spirit, unable to complete its journey. This is why Hindu tradition places such importance on the 13-day mourning period and the annual Shraddh ceremonies. It is not just ritual for ritual's sake. According to the Garud Purana, these practices have a direct impact on the well-being of the departed soul. The text also talks about the importance of dying in the right state of mind. It says that if a person dies while thinking of God, while hearing sacred scriptures, or while being surrounded by loved ones who chant divine names, the soul's journey is much easier. This is why, in traditional Hindu families, when someone is dying, the family gathers around and recites the Bhagavad Gita or chants the name of God. There is also a concept called Sadgati, a good destination after death. The Garud Purana lists several things that help a person achieve Sadgati: charity, especially the donation of a cow, feeding the hungry, performing fire rituals, taking care of Brahmins and holy people, planting trees, building wells and water sources for public use, and above all, sincere devotion to God. One of the most powerful sections of the Garud Purana describes how a person should prepare for death throughout their life. It says, "Do not wait until your final moments to think of God. Make devotion a daily practice. Be honest in your dealings. Do not harm others. Do not hoard wealth beyond what you need. Give freely. Forgive easily. And most importantly, remember that this body is temporary. Do not get so attached to it that you forget the eternal soul within." The Garud Purana also addresses the fear of death directly. It says that death is not an end. It is a transition. Just as a person takes off old clothes and puts on new ones, the soul discards an old body and takes on a new one. The soul itself never dies. It was never born, and it will never cease to exist. It is eternal, indestructible, and beyond the reach of fire, water, or any weapon. This echoes the famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita: "The soul is not slain when the body is slain. It does not burn in fire, does not dissolve in water, does not dry in the wind. It is everlasting, present everywhere, unchanging, and beyond the reach of time." So what is the spiritual takeaway from the Garud Purana? First, every action has a consequence. There is no escaping karma. What you do in this life follows you into the next. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to empower you. You are the architect of your own destiny. Every kind word, every generous act, every moment of compassion is building your future. Second, Death is not something to fear. It is something to prepare for. And the best preparation is not stockpiling rituals or donations in your final days. It is living every single day with awareness, kindness, and devotion. Third, the ultimate goal is not heaven. Heaven is temporary. The ultimate goal is moksha. Permanent liberation, permanent freedom, permanent union with the divine. And that comes not from what you do, but from who you become. It comes from wisdom, from understanding your true nature, from realizing that you are not this body, not this mind, but something far greater. The Garud Purana is not a book of fear. It is a book of truth. It tells you exactly how the cosmic system of justice works, so that you can make informed choices about how to live. It is a guidebook for the greatest journey any of us will ever take, the journey from this world to whatever comes next. And the most comforting message buried within all those descriptions of punishment and reward is this: no matter how far a soul has fallen, no matter how much negative karma it has accumulated, there is always a path back. Through repentance, through devotion, through the grace of God, every soul can eventually find its way home, because in the end, the universe is not built on punishment, it is built on love. And every soul, no matter how long it takes, will eventually return to the source from which it came.